Alright, a quick question and answer for your standard 66cc bike. When you get it, I recommend you take in, because I had my rear mounts break on me because I did not buy the vibration kit. When you do get it, buy the vibration kit, or tap out your mounting bolts from the M6 ones right here to an M8 size or 9/16 if you're in America. Switch out your bolts right here, your M6 bolts for hex bolts, due to the fact, one, that they have grooves on the side. They basically lock themselves in when you get them nice and tight, so you don't have to put Loctite on them. And only do it on the clutch plate, because this is the one that you really have to worry about, because say you're driving and you can't pull your clutch in so you can stop, you end up killing your engine and locking your rear system up, and you can't pedal basically without turning your engine back on. It sucks. But also, when you get it, replace the bolts in the front for the muffler, because mine strip pretty easily. Before you mount your muffler, also take a rasp or file and file down the end right here to where it's flat, it's flush, or what's called facing the muffler, so that it will sit even with this. And you will take basically a flat edge or a carpenter square and use the flat side of that to make sure that it's flat. And when you get that done, you grab sandpaper, preferably multiple grit types, as you see I had used it. You want something coarse to fine, so that when you get done, you can put exhaust gasket manifold for cars on here. It seals that up. Then you also buy high heat gasket manifold for the cylinder head on a car, and you undo the 4 bolts on your top, remove them, lift it up, put your sealant on your bottom gasket, put that back down, put your sealant on your top gasket, put that back down, because really down here there's not going to be much for gas escaping, because it's all going to be up here in the cylinder where everything's happening. And then you would also put sealant over here on your carburetor. The reason why you want sealant on all these is because you don't want it to leak, because if you leak, you're going to have problems. You don't want it to catch on fire when you're going down the road. As you see though, how I basically built a leaf spring, have it bolted to the frame so there's no way it can drop. I have that frame mount bolted to the actual spring so I can remove it and leave that on. And as you see, yeah, still have use of my derailleur, even though I don't use it much. I recommend you get a lighting system with a brake, and if you could, I recommend hooking it up to the clutch. It's not really well, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's the idea, because I hit my clutch lever a lot more than I hit my brake lever. But another question, let me think. Oh yes, and when you get done fixing your gaskets and you tighten down your head bolts, 14 foot-pounds per bolt, or 175 inch-pounds. But you take and Loctite it, obviously, but put your Loctite on your bolt and go to tighten down. You tighten down this one and get them all Loctite and tighten down to where they're basically finger tight. Grab your Torx wrench, tighten down here. Once this one's done, you go over here, tighten opposite corner down, and then you go over to this one or that one. But the reason why is you tighten it down like a car tire so that it has even pressure. You won't blow your gasket. You make sure you have a good spark plug. If you haven't, I'm running everything stock because I want to burn it out first before I replace it. But put a little electrical tape on your CDI, your CDI boot, so that for the spark plug, so when you go to pull it off, it actually pulls off the rubber casing, otherwise they like to stay on. Put some back here too. Now, on this, if it's a little loose on the stock one, mine has a brass fixture on the inside with what looked like a basically staple. As you see, there you go. Now, I took the flathead, took it out, and I bent, as you see, the one side in slightly to where it gets better connection. I recommend that type of fuel filter. Reason why is the ones that come with it are just crap. Oh yes, Loctite your carburetor screws. There's 3, the one down here, one right here, and on the opposite side over there. Put Teflon, not Loctite, sorry folks, Teflon on the screws. And for basic vibration dampening, I just use old tire, popped old tire, and it works just fine. I haven't felt much vibration so far. Well, I took it out for the one ride to test it, since I've rebuilt it. Yeah. Let's see if I can get a better look at that. There you are. You can see how when this one broke, I wasn't able to get this one drilled out properly, so I ended up having to drill right next to it and tap that out. And this one didn't drill out right either, it was a little high. If you have to, on your crank assembly, you can file down, if you have the ability to, the back of the crank right here, so that it'll clear right here on your motor housing, or you can leave a brake pad arm. As you see, the button for your brake lights. Always good to have lights. Same with the mirror. Don't want a cop to mess with you. But high performance, your idlers on the back for your tire, I recommend high performance tensioners, which all they are is basically the same thing right here, just with an arm that can rock. And the pulley is on the end of the arm right here, and there's a spring that comes down, hooks up to your frame. I recommend those because you have your top one set up to where you have your bottom one, this one basically, put on the bottom. And then, so that it will keep your chain a little higher. And you have your high performance one with the spring on it, on the top. Reason why is because this is the side that actually has to have the play. Because otherwise, you're not going to have the same amount of acceleration. It will start off sluggish, slow, and then you'll get to the speed you want. It won't be, what? There. Trust me, that's why I took this out for a ride. I wanted to rebuild it because I got this. But, let's see. Oh, I recommend if you're running a mountain bike and you can't afford getting a new throttle casing, what you do is to shorten it up. I just had it run underneath the gas tank right here along the side, comes over, comes down, comes through, wraps underneath the casing, because this is going to be cooler down here. And then it's going to come up, the heat guard is going to sit where it's supposed to, and right there. And the reason why is because that's a lot. Sorry, folks, didn't mean to say throttle. I meant to say clutch. You see, the reason why you want the clutch cable is because when I had it come through just underneath the gas tank, wrap down and loop basically right here, it was really tough and didn't want to pull as easily. And for your throttle, if you want to shorten that cable, you're going to take the end one out of here and leave this piece alone, but you get your casing that you want for the length, take that out, and you pull it to the length that you need it to be for your throttle. Because on the inside, there is a, hold on, pen and paper time. On the inside of your throttle right there, you have what looks like a come on, stop moving. Alright. Your throttle's right here and everything. Here's your throttle end, and there's the cable. What you'll do is you'll go grab a screw or a screw and nut setup and a wire crimp of some type. You wrap it around the screw and nut, make sure it's the same size as the end piece originally. You crimp that down. You wrap the wire around it and you put, so basically wire goes around right here in the core, goes around and gets crimped right here by this little metal crimp. Wire crimp. And that's how you shorten your cable up so that you can have it fit better to your bike instead of having to coil up around and go, it would just go straight to here. Just go straight into it. So basically, cut out that part. It'll be like that. Yeah. I do recommend that one